You know, back in the day, Thanksgiving tables held more than turkey and stuffing. Centuries ago, Native American staples like succotash, baked pumpkin, and Three Sisters stew carried families through feast and survival. These lost flavors shaped America's earliest food traditions. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe. Today we're uncovering 10 lost American side dishes nobody eats anymore. Coming in at number 10, baked pineapple casserole. Imagine Easter Sunday in the 1960s, families gathered around the table where glazed ham took center stage. Right beside it sat a bubbling dish that seemed unusual at first glance, chunks of canned pineapple layered with cubes of white bread and sharp cheddar cheese. As it baked, the bread soaked up the sweet juices while the cheese melted into tangy ribbons, creating a side dish that was both savory and sweet. Children dug in for the pineapple while adults marveled that something so odd could taste so good. It was thrifty, stretching simple pantry staples into a dish large enough to feed a crowd, yet bold enough to feel special. Over time, tastes shifted and such quirky combinations disappeared from holiday menus, leaving baked pineapple casserole as a memory in faded cookbooks. But in its day, it stood proudly as proof of mid-century creativity, a dish that dared to be different and earned its place at the feast. If you're enjoying this trip down memory lane, hit like and subscribe for more nostalgic stories that keep these flavors alive. Coming in at number 9, carrot raisin salad. Think of a sweltering summer afternoon in the 1970s picnic table shaded by oak trees and pitchers of lemonade sweating in the heat. Among the fried chicken and baked beans sat a bright bowl of shredded carrots mixed with sweet raisins, pineapple chunks, and a creamy swirl of mayonnaise. The crunch of carrots, the chew of raisins, and the tang of pineapple made it refreshing yet satisfying, a clever way to turn garden staples into something festive. Children loved the sweet bits of fruit while parents appreciated how quick and inexpensive it was to prepare. It became a favorite at church socials and family reunions, appearing in countless community cookbooks as a reliable dish anyone could whip up. Over time, mayonnaise-based salads began to lose favor and fresher, lighter options pushed it aside. Yet, for those who remember, carrot raisin salad was a burst of sunshine on the table, proof that even humble ingredients could sing when brought together with care. Looking back at broccoli rice, casserole corn pudding, and carrot raisin salad, which of these classic comfort sides would you most want to see return to your family gatherings today? Coming in at number 8, corn pudding. Picture a Thanksgiving table in the 1940s golden light flickering from candles as relatives passed heavy platters from hand to hand. Right beside the turkey sat a deep dish of corn, pudding its top baked into a golden crust, while the inside stayed soft, custardy, and rich with the sweetness of corn. Made with eggs, milk, butter, and just a touch of sugar, it straddled the line between side dish and dessert. Families treasured it because it turned the simplest harvest ingredient into something festive, a dish that felt both humble and celebratory. Generations of children grew up spooning it onto their plates at Christmas or Sunday dinners, the warm custard tying memories to family gatherings year after year. It was easy, thrifty, and yet carried the air of tradition, showing how resourcefulness could still feel abundant. As time passed, newer trends and ready-made sides pushed it aside, and corn pudding slipped quietly from holiday menus. But once it was the taste of homecoming itself, a reminder that love and memory could be baked into every spoonful. Coming in at number 7, broccoli rice casserole. Step into a bustling kitchen during the holiday season of the 1970s where the smell of buttered rolls and roast turkey filled the air. On the counter sat a casserole dish brimming with broccoli, florets, tender rice, cream of mushroom soup, and a golden topping of melted cheddar cheese. Families called it a vegetable dish, but everyone knew it was really comfort food, dressed up in green. Children who wrinkled their noses at plain broccoli often learned to take their first bites hidden under that gooey, cheesy layer. Mothers loved how simple it was to prepare, mix, bake, and serve, making it a staple at Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners when time was short and the oven was already busy. It was hearty enough to stretch a meal, thrifty enough to fit any budget, and indulgent enough to feel special on the table. Over time, as cooking shifted toward fresher ingredients and lighter fare, the canned soup casseroles faded from holiday spreads. Yet, for those who remember, broccoli rice casserole was more than a side. It was a warm, bubbling dish that smelled like celebration itself. Coming in at number 6, 3-bean salad. Think of a picnic in the 1970s, red and white blankets spread across the grass, paper plates balanced on laps in sunshine, catching the glossy sheen of beans in a big glass bowl. Green beans, yellow wax beans, and red kidney beans, all tossed together with onions in a sweet and sour vinegar dressing, created a salad as colorful as it was practical. Families loved it because it could be made ahead, kept chilled, and still tasted fresh hours later, perfect for reunions, barbecues, and church suppers. The beans held their bite, the dressing danced between tangy and sweet, and the dish paired effortlessly with just about anything, from grilled chicken to baked ham. It was thrifty, dependable, and admired for its simple beauty, a salad that fed dozens without fuss. Over the years, store-bought sides and changing tastes edged it off the table, but once it was the symbol of togetherness at every gathering. Looking back at the last three dishes, congealed lime salad, frog eye salad, and three bean salad, do you think these playful, colorful creations deserve a comeback, or are they better left in memory? Coming in at number 5, frog eye salad. Imagine walking into a family reunion in the 1970s, long folding tables, groaning under trays of fried chicken pies and towering casseroles. Among them sat a giant bowl of something both strange and delightful, tiny beads of pasta glistening in custard fruit and whipped topping. The little pasta pearls acini di pepe looked like frog eyes, giving the dish its playful name. Pineapple chunks, mandarin oranges, and even the occasional cherry added bursts of sweetness and color, while the custard wrapped everything in a creamy embrace. Children were always the first to scoop it up, enchanted by its sweetness and fun name, while adults appreciated how easy it was to feed a crowd with simple pantry staples. It was quirky, light, and endlessly shareable. Over time, changing tastes and the decline of gelatin and pasta salads nudged it off the table. But for those who remember, frog eye salad wasn't just food. It was a dish that made people laugh, brought cousins together, and turned an ordinary reunion into something just a little more magical. Coming in at number 4, congealed lime salad. Step into a church basement potluck in the 1960s and you'd likely spot a pastel green mold wobbling proudly in the center of the table. This curious creation began with lime gelatin, bright and shimmering, then folded together with cream cheese, crushed pineapple, and chopped walnuts. Poured into decorative molds, it set into a glossy ring that looked more like a centerpiece than a salad. The flavors were quirky but beloved, the tart lime mingling with creamy cheese, the sweet pineapple cutting through, and the nuts adding a little crunch. Children poked it with spoons, giggling at how it jiggled, while adults admired its novelty as both salad and dessert in one. In those years, gelatin was the canvas for every kind of experiment, and this dish captured the adventurous spirit of mid-century kitchens. Over time, its odd mix of savory and sweet lost appeal as fresher, lighter dishes took over. Still, for those who remember, congealed lime salad was a splash of color, creativity, and laughter on the buffet table, proof that food didn't have to be ordinary to bring joy. Coming in at number 3, copper penny salad. Picture a summer picnic in the 1960s, folding chairs scattered across the lawn and the clink of glass jars filled with iced tea. At the center of the table was a bowl shimmering with carrot coins, thin slices that gleamed like copper pennies in the sundae. Those carrots had been marinated overnight in a sweet and sour bath of tomato sauce, vinegar, and sugar, mingling with onions and bell peppers until the flavors melded together. Housewives loved it because it could be made days in advance, chilled in the fridge, and brought out whenever company appeared. Children who normally turned up their noses at plain carrots suddenly found them irresistible, while adults appreciated how a thrifty vegetable could become the star of the meal. It was refreshing, colorful, and practical all at once. Over time, fresher salad trends and changing tastes pushed it aside, and today it is little more than a memory from mid-century kitchens. Yet once this salad proved that even humble carrots could shine, thinking back, which of these first 3 dishes, 7-layer salad, scalloped potatoes with ham, or copper penny salad, would you most want to see on your table again? Coming in at number 2, scalloped potatoes with ham. Imagine a Sunday afternoon in the 1950s, sunlight streaming through lace curtains as the smell of something rich and comforting drifted from the oven. In a deep casserole dish, paper-thin slices of potato were carefully layered, each fold hiding bits of salty leftover ham. Over it all, mothers poured a creamy sauce of milk or canned soup, letting the heat transform those simple scraps into a bubbling, golden masterpiece. The top browned into a crust that crackled softly under the serving spoon, while the inside melted into tender layers that tasted like home. Grandmothers loved teaching this dish, showing how even the smallest portion of meat could stretch to feed a whole family. Children discovered tiny cubes of ham tucked between potatoes like treasures, and no one complained when it appeared beside roast chicken or beans. It was hearty, thrifty, and deeply dependable. But as box mixes and ready-made dinners filled supermarket shelves, this homemade version faded into memory. Once, though, scalloped potatoes with ham stood proudly on countless tables, proof that comfort could be built from scraps and patience. Coming in at number 1, 7-layer salad. Step into a fellowship hall in the 1970s where folding tables groaned under casseroles, deviled eggs, and pies baked with care. Right in the middle of it all stood a tall glass bowl layered like a rainbow, each stripe a promise of flavor. The base was always crisp, iceberg lettuce followed by a scatter of sweet green peas, then slices of hard-boiled eggs, sharp onions, shredded cheddar, and smoky bacon crumbles. Finally, a thick spread of mayonnaise sealed the top, smooth as cake frosting, holding everything together until the first spoon broke through. Families adored it because it could be prepared a day ahead, chilled in the fridge, and carried proudly to church socials or neighborhood potlucks. Children dug for their favorite layer, while adults admired how humble ingredients could look so elegant when stacked with care. It was thrifty, filling, and dependable, a dish that made a crowd feel rich even when budgets were tight, though it has slipped quietly from today's tables. 7-layer salad once stood as the jewel of community suppers, a symbol of abundance built one layer at a time. And you know, when we look back, these side dishes weren't just food, they were living history carrying Native American wisdom and resourcefulness onto every plate. From succotash to baked pumpkin, they told stories of survival, community, and celebration that shaped America long before today's menus. Maybe they've disappeared from our tables, but they don't have to vanish from memory. Share your favorite forgotten dish in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into America's lost flavors.